Good morning, students. Welcome to the GS College e-learning platform. In the earlier lectures, we had started the inflation, whereby we have seen the concept of inflation, the types of inflation, then the major concept of inflation, types of inflation, similarly the effects of inflation. Now in today's lecture, we are going to see the measures which are taken to control the inflations. See, inflation is developing because of the more money in the economy. Because of the more money in the economy, there is an increase in the effective demand, and because of the increase in the effective demand or aggregate demand, there is the increase in the general price level. So what should be the medicine to control the inflation? When the disease is developing because of the certain reason, so we have to control that disease via that measure. So we have to control here the money supply in the economy. We have to curtail the demand of the goods and services, the effective demand of the goods and services. So for that purpose, whatever the measures are taken, these measures are classified into the monetary measures, fiscal measures, direct measures, and the other one. Prominent here is the monetary as well as the fiscal measures. When we are talking about the monetary measures or the monetary policy, these are the measures which are taken by the central bank, of course, with the consultation of the government. These measures are taken by the central bank, and the main motive is there to control the credit as well as the excessive money supply in the economy. So the first over there is the increasing bank rate. What is the bank rate? The bank rate is the rate at which the commercial banks borrow the money from the central bank. What is the bank rate? The bank rate is the rate at which the commercial banks borrow the money from the central bank. It is also called the rediscounting or discounting rate. Commercial banks keep their bills and rediscount it from the central bank. So, by increasing the bank rate, the central bank tries to control the commercial bank's credit generation ability. See, if the commercial bank is getting the money at the cheap rate of interest or at the less rate of interest from the central bank, they will also give or they will also lend the money at a reduced rate of interest to the people or general public. But if the loan which is available to the commercial bank is at a higher rate of interest, so the loan will become costly for the commercial bank, and these costly loan, when will be given to the public, will also charge the higher rate of interest. And somehow we had studied this in the first year that at the higher rate of interest, the people take the lesser loan. So, by increasing the bank rate, the commercial bank's ability to give the loan to the people also to a certain extent reduced. Second one is their sale of the government securities in the open market. Government securities are sold by the central bank. Why that? Somehow the extra purchasing power of the people is taken, or to which we can say again the lending ability of the commercial bank is curtailed, because the securities are purchased by the commercial banks through the commercial banks, and because of the purchase of the securities, the cash reserves of the commercial bank is reduced. Then the next one is their higher reserve ratio. See, we all know that the two types of the reserves are to be kept by the commercial bank. One is the CRR and the other one is the SLR. If the CRR and the SLR are increased, their ratio is increased, their percentage is increased, again the lending ability of the commercial bank is reduced. So the credit generation ability of the commercial bank is curtailed. When the credit generation capability of the commercial bank is curtailed, the lesser credit will be available to the people and the lesser money will be generated in the economy. Again, there will be the lesser effective demand. So what you are finding, there is actually a circle. Less credit generation, lesser loan, or the lesser money with the people, lesser effective demand. When we are talking about these measures, monetary policy measures, these are actually the quantitative measures. Its effect is seen on the whole economy. Again, the certain measures are also taken by the central bank, whereby the motive is not to have the effect overall economy, but to a certain sectors or certain areas only. And these are called the selective credit control measures, or to which we can say the qualitative measures. When we are talking about the quantitative measures, its effect are seen to all the economy. When we are talking about the qualitative measures, its effect is seen to a particular area only. So under the selective credit control measures, there are a number of them. Here we are talking about the first, consumer credit control. So having the effect only on the consumer credit, to a certain extent the consumer's demand to the consumer goods are to be reduced. So the consumer credit control. What is there? Only the effect you will see on the consumer credit. Then the higher margin requirement. What is margin requirement? Margin requirement is a certain percentage on which the commercial banks give the loan. This percentage is on the securities. See, if the security is of 1,000 rupees, and the margin requirement is 40%. So the commercial bank will give the loan on to the person only of 600 rupees. The 40% the commercial bank is actually keeping as a requirement. So that is called the margin requirement. If the margin requirement is increased, as a result of that, the loan given to the individual will reduce. If it will be 50%, only the 500 rupees will be given as a loan. And if it is reduced from 40 to 20%, see, 800 rupees the bank will give as a loan on the security. So, higher margin requirement. After that, the credit rationing. Give to the credit only to the specific sectors which are very essential. So, rationing is there. That is called the credit rationing. These are the monetary measures which are adopted to control the inflation, increasing bank rate, sale of government securities, higher reserve ratio. These are the quantitative measures. These quantitative measures have the effect on the overall economy. When we talk about the qualitative measures, the selective measure, its effect is seen only on the specific sector. Now we are coming on the next aspect, that is the fiscal policy or fiscal measures. Fiscal measures, these are the measures which are taken by the government in terms of budget, in terms of taxes, in terms of borrowing, in terms of expenditures. Public expenditures, public borrowing, public debts, and the taxes. Why are this? The measures which are taken is called the fiscal measures or the fiscal policy. Under that, the first one is there, increase in the taxation. See, in the yesterday lecture, I have told you that if the indirect taxes are imposed, it has the effect. It's actually inflationary in nature. And if the direct taxes are there, direct taxes actually take away the excessive purchasing power of the individual. Income tax, if the income tax rate will be increased, but naturally the disposable income of an individual will reduce. So many economists suggest that the progressive direct taxes are more favorable for controlling the inflation. The second one is there, reduction in the public expenditures. See, the effective demand is developed. Why so? Because of the money which is available to the people, employment level. Public expenditures, while the government is spending to a certain extent, the employment level is generated. Okay, productive public expenditures, non-productive public expenditures, development of public expenditures, and other. So somehow, via the public expenditures, the purchasing power comes to the public, and we have to curtail this. We have to reduce the effective demand. So it's better on the part of the government to reduce the public expenditure. Reduction in public expenditure will actually reduce the effective demand. After that, the public borrowing. What is public borrowing? Public borrowing is the policy of the government whereby the government borrows the money from the public. What is public borrowing? Via public borrowing, the government borrows the money from the public, and that money is used by the government to the public expenditures. Okay, what is the source of revenue to the government? Source of revenue for the government is actually the taxes. Simultaneously, via the borrowing, the government also makes the public expenditures. So these policy is adopted to curtail the excessive purchasing power of the people. Excessive public power will be taken away from the people through the borrowing. The government will repay the debts after some time with the interest. But at present, the money is taken from the public to the government. So that is the public borrowing. After that, control of deficit financing. One of the cause of inflation is the deficit financing. What is deficit financing? Deficit financing is financing the budgetary deficit via printing the new currency. Financing the budgetary deficit via printing the new currency and to be bring into the economy. So, instead of deficit financing, the government should try to finance its activities through the taxations instead of issuing the new currency. So these are the measures which are called the fiscal measures. Increase in the taxation, especially the direct taxes, and it should be the progressive one. Progressive taxes is also good from the point of the social justice or social equity in the country or in the economy. Reduction in the public expenditures, public borrowing, control of deficit financing. These are the two measures which are adopted. After that, the other one is the direct control. Direct control of the price. The government is taking the initiative to control the price. The price should not, the good price of the goods should not go beyond the ceiling which is imposed by the government. So a ceiling is imposed so that the price should not go beyond that ceiling. That is the direct control on the price. And here the initiative of the government is must. The second one is their rationing. Providing the essential goods and services, providing essential goods especially, not the services, providing the essential goods through the rationing. We all know that we have the ration card. And via the public distribution system, PDS, we get wheat, rice and other things, pulses and sugar at the concessional rates and in a reduced or certain quota quantity only. So that is called the rationing. Through the rationing, stipulated amount of the goods are to be provided at the concessional rates. So these are the direct control measures. One is the direct control on the price and the rationing. Now the next one is there are other measures. Other measures, under that the first one is there, expansion of output. Expansion of output, see, the supply is not increasing as the demand. So what is the need? We have to increase the supply also. And for that purpose, what we have to do? We have to increase the output. We have to expand the output. So expansion of the output. For that purpose, the new setups are to be established. Production capacity, new production capacities is to be started. Then the next one is their proper wage policy. Proper wage policy, again here the government has to take the initiative that the wages rates are to be fixed. When the wages rates will be fixed, the cost of production will not increase. And when the cost of production will not increase, the price will also not increase, because we have seen there is also one of the main cause is the cost push inflation. In the modern view, cost is also one of the important factor of increasing the price level. So that is the proper wage policy. After that, the next one is there, encouragement to savings. The people should save more money. See what happens, our income is not totally spent on consumption. We basically keep a certain portion for the saving, for future contingencies. But if we will increase our saving, our disposable income or portion of the income on the consumption will reduce. And when the portion of income on consumption will reduce, the effective demand will also be curtailed. And as a result of that, what will we find? There will be the lesser effective demand or aggregate demand. So encouragement to saving, and after that the one is the population control. To a certain extent, the population is to be controlled, but it's a long-term process, whereby through the population control we can to a certain extent reduce the demand. So in this chapter of inflation, what we had studied the concept of inflation, the types of inflation, the causes of inflation, effects of inflation, and the last portion which we have covered here is the measures to control the inflation. The conclusion is that inflation is not good for the economy. So in the next lecture we will see deflation, our next topic under the second unit. Thank you.